Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I've got a really awesome special guest, my good friend Cameron Fath. He's a former Army Ranger. He was in the National Guard. He's a Milsim West cadre. He's been on a bunch of cool internet shows like obviously Shiftfire, Gameology, and whatnot. And he's got a new show coming out. Tell us a little more about it.
Yeah, so I've been fortunate enough to be or to take part in a new Netflix series coming out called Toughest Forces on Earth. Myself and two other special operations veterans, we pretty much travel around the globe, experience different special forces and elite law enforcement units, and basically embed to show the world their capabilities. So that's been an awesome time, but I think it's been a really good tool to aid this video that we're about to make here.
So obviously, we've got the gear here. He's been running this for a little while. You know, we've got obviously a lot of cool stuff here, but you've been using both on your own time training, doing Milsim West, and of course you used it on the show as well. So I guess without further ado, I'll let you take it away. We'll go top to bottom and kind of run through what your setup is.
Sure, yeah, so self-explanatory, but this is my gear. It's seen a lot of evolution throughout the years, but I think a lot of the base itself, it has remained unchanged, because there's a couple aspects of like when you're building kit that you need to check those boxes. This is what I've been running for a long time. If you've been following me for a little bit, thank you. And also, you've probably seen a lot of this gear, but you're like, oh, things are different of it. But that's been the beauty of it, the evolution of like learning, making mistakes.
Yeah, it's always changing.
It's always changing. That's the great thing that I love about gear. But starting from the top, going down to the bottom. So basically, I just have a standard Opscore high cut. It's definitely due for a replacement. I've had this for years. And honestly, you should be paying attention to your Kevlar, because like everything, it has an expiration date. So I'm confident that if I get shot in the head now, I would probably die. So it's probably time for a new pot, but it's been doing an excellent job so far. On the front, obviously night vision mount. This is the Argus, which is the Wilcox clone. Okay, everyone's like, China, 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 China. It's super good, and it's like, at the time was $150, and it's bulletproof.
Well, frankly, like a lot of guys, you'll see a lot of guys, especially in the Milsim side or whatever, like in a pinch, a lot of guys will use some of the higher end like airsoft clones of these, because like they're made very well. Yeah. But yeah, obviously like in a pinch, they work great. But yeah, I mean, you got that. There's like a bunch of other mounts on the market too. And I think Nocturne Industries is coming out with a new low pro mount. So you might want to check that one out.
I'll probably check that out, man. One thing, at least this is the curse for me. Like spending years in 2nd Ranger Battalion, like getting access to all this awesome, great gear, it's really made me biased, and it's really spoiled my appetite when it comes to like trying things that I know that I didn't use. So like some of these are steps and bounds and even leaps for me to try, like the Argus mount, but I'm actually happy with the performance, and it was given to me by a good buddy of mine. So Argus night vision mount, then pushing back, we have the Oakley Alpha Halo goggles. They come on the Oakley Alpha pretty much lens kit. They are awesome. I have them there. Kind of jerry-rigged. This isn't like, you've probably never seen this.
Or a variation of this. I was like, huh. I was like, the closer I look, I was like, he's actually got them rigged to the helmet like that. I didn't notice that before. But yeah. It's nice, because I got the same goggles, but on different helmets.
Yeah, so these ones specifically are meant to be run strapped to the Velcro on the back of your helmet. But I realized, like, it's not feasible for, having snag points, and then obviously I have my light running on the side here, so it'd be covering that. So I was like, can I rig this in a way that allows me to still have them on my helmet for when I need them? Because these are my like secondary, even tertiary eye protection, and if I find myself in a very like brownout scenario, which brownout is like dust and sandstorms and helicopter coming in blowing everything. Sometimes standard eye protection really doesn't do it for you. So having a secondary, and then even eye pro gets lost. Some dudes take it off when they get super sweaty, put it in their pocket, and then end up taking a seat or leaning on something and breaking their eye pro. Yeah. So it's always good to have a secondary. So that's what I have there, and I jerry-rigged it to my helmet myself.
And speaking of how you have it set up, it kind of reminds me of the Opscore goggle kit because they actually have attachment points where it's like attached to it, and you can flip it up, and then it could also just like hooks on here, so that way you can, when you put it up or when you have it down, their face shield or whatever. It's like kind of in a similar configuration, but you utilizing the shock cord there kind of reminded me of that. So that's pretty cool.
So that's took a lot of time and effort to figure that one out. Helmet cover itself for the high cut is the Agalite SF cover. This is the older model. I had this for a couple of years. They've since then evolved it and added more bells and whistles.
They make great helmet covers. Like
they make some of the best helmet covers.
Like I was like, man, Israel, coming out with some bangers with these helmet covers, because they make one for MTech, obviously for Pride, and obviously for Opscore.
Yeah, they're on top of it, and I am a big fan of helmet covers because it makes cable management so easy. Being able to hide things underneath here, not only does it make you look cool, which is rule number one, but it's also extremely functional with like not getting them snagged, not having to worry about like seeing those cables or getting them caught on anything. And it's just really gives your helmet a really clean look. So I always run all my hardware and cables, even when I have like a battery pack for nods. Like when I was in, I'd run that underneath my helmet cover and like maybe poke a hole through it and then push it through. Just makes everything cleaner, and it makes keeping cables like my Peltors here, which is going to be the next thing we talk about, pretty controlled and out of the way. Some dudes I've seen run them internally to the helmet.
There's like some guys are running them internally. Some guys are wearing obviously like the Peltor adapters, and then some guys obviously made the jump to the amp arms. They got the full, and like some guys love them, some guys hate them. Like everyone's kind of got different opinions.
I have mixed feelings. I think the technology is better than Peltor, but then again, these are Peltor Comtac 3s, so they're a little.
Yeah, I think they're on like 6s now.
Yeah, so
I still need to try those, but I mean, Comtac 3s still do plenty of work, and there's thousands of them out in the field.
Yeah, that's why. I mean, these are bulletproof. The only reason I haven't upgraded to amps, other than the price tag, is the fact that these are still going and going strong as hell. Plus the fact I've always been a fan of the ability with their helmet mounts to be able to pop them off and still be able to hear comms, because people are like, oh, I like the amps. I'm like, have you ever walked for like 24 hours straight with the helmet on? And if they say no, then I'm like, you have no idea what you're doing.
That is the one thing about the amps. Like, it's a good point. Like if you're in the field for a long time, like they're kind of binary, right? They're either on or they're completely off. Versus these, you just pop them off a little bit, you get some airflow and whatnot.
And I can still hear my comms if I'm using them.
You still have like operational situational awareness, but then when you need them, you just pop them right in.
on.
So there's advantages and disadvantages for everything.
Absolutely. Like with the amps, the technology is better.
Oh yeah.
It's the state of the art, and I've worn them before. I think they sound better. Like they're an upgrade, definitely. At least to my 3s here. I'm sure the Comtacs, the newer versions, are great as well. But just this mounting system is good. And plus, I haven't had the necessity to mount anything on my arc rails. So I haven't needed to push anything back.
It's funny that rails became a thing on helmets, and then we really didn't put a whole lot on them because we started ended up putting lights and stuff more on the Velcro everywhere. Like in the beginning, it was like, oh, you put everything on there. Now it's like you literally just have ear pro on there and that's it. And like there's other solutions that have come out that kind of address that. But
I've seen a lot of guys, like newer companies with helmets. They're utilizing the rails a lot now. So
you're talking about the like rail link?
Like rail link, and then Opscore. Like a lot of people are mounting these super powerful white lights to their helmets. I mean, it's cool. I'm not the biggest fan of doing that because I literally never used white light ever.
Operationally or in the
especially
field,
that. I've seen some dudes
like red light, if anything.
It's always red light. Like if you're white lighting, something's gone really wrong, or you're doing a back clear, and I'm not back clearing with my helmet. I'm back clearing with my weapon. That's
because people shoot at where lights are.
So I've seen some guys rock white lights on the back of it, so it shoots up to illuminate a room. But Rangers really put an emphasis on zero white light.
Discipline,
zero white light at all time. It was terrifying. If you saw a white light go off, it was like you're like, uh-oh.
And you'll probably see that special operations wide for the most part.
It's
just like white light, and if you're operating in a low light environment, white light is literally like the last thing you want to see.
But I mean, hey, I'm one of those guys that hasn't tried that super strong white light on my helmet, so maybe it has its place. But for me personally, right now, based off my experience, I don't need it. And usually I'll wear a headlamp around my neck in case I need
something purpose-built for that kind of thing, yeah.
But moving right along, we have a Hellstar strobe. Strobes are great for frontline trace. That's super important. That's one thing, especially if you're a Milsim player, you've probably experienced friendly fire. And that's the unfortunate reality of it, but it's also a great learning lesson. Frontline trace, which is the ability to see the forward unit, to see who's out there, to identify whether they're friendly or not. Having a strobe, especially at nighttime, is, in my opinion, something that you should not sacrifice. So get a strobe.
Good to have.
Great to have. Especially
if you're working with like assets above, they need to be able to tell who the hell is who down there.
Exactly.
Question about that. Want to know your thoughts. In a near-peer environment, how do you think that changes things, especially if you're working against an opponent that has night vision as well?
I mean, that's been the whole highly hot topic lately, right? Like the last, in Afghanistan, Iraq, the last 20 plus years, we've been fighting dudes in sandals.
Building our SOPs around that.
Yeah, but, so like a conventional force, like back in the day, we never really practiced. This is just an example. Back in the day, we never really practiced passive aiming, which is a big thing. Now we're starting to see optics on, higher and higher risers. So basically, we can aim through them with night vision, and we didn't want to do that because especially in my experience, we just used lasers all the time because we're like, these dudes can't see us,
Yeah.
We're going in, we're waking up a farmer, that's been selling weapons to the Taliban. So that wasn't a necessity, but now we're starting to think about the near peer, China, Russia.
Chinese and Russian special operations teams.
All these conventional militaries.
Even if they don't have the greatest night vision, they can still see it.
Yeah, night vision is night vision. You want to talk about the lenses or the tubes, it doesn't freaking matter, dude. It doesn't matter. Kit is kit. And if it works, some works better, but if it works baseline, you're probably going to get killed by it,
And one thing to note is the United States military currently is the only military where even the cook still gets a rifle with a red dot, probably with a laser if it's an active duty unit,
not National Guard.
Not National Guard, but every infantryman and even the support folks get a rifle with an optic with a laser. That's a lot. That's a lot to be said, and night vision versus other units in the world where only their special operations or maybe some of their advanced infantry might get all the tools. We're still kind of lucky, but that advantage is only going to last so long.
That being said, the strobe is a tool, right? When I'm at nighttime, you think my strobe's on at all times? Absolutely not. It's there for when I need it or when the plan calls for it, right? But like I said, delineating frontline trace, whether it's for a moment, turning that on. So when I'm kind of deconflicting with another squad or something.
Who the fuck?
You're like, what is this? And can you give me either we can laser link up, but then that's kind of giving away position, but that's a method. Or I could be like, hey, can you see my strobe? Pop it on real quick. They're like, yeah, I got you. Pop it off. Okay, so it's just a method, right? And that's how you can confirm, friendlies. So basically, next I just have a helmet light here on the side. I forgot what company this is. What are they?
Princeton Tech?
Princeton Tech,
Princeton
Tech. Thank you,
genius. They're very well known for their headlights and their lamps and everything like that.
This is actually the same light I ran in my regiment setup. It's a great light. You need a red lens. You need a red lens on your helmet. I'm telling you, you need some sort of red or blue light on your helmet. It's gonna, especially when you're trying to clear malfunctions at nighttime, it's gonna make it easy because, like I said, white light is a no-go. Even internal, you have to pick and choose your battles. But if I have a small red lens here, because why red lens? Well, the wavelengths, right? The color wavelengths at long distance, red wavelengths go away much quicker.
They have a short visual range.
Exactly.
Basically.
So you can see a white lens way easier than you can see a red at nighttime.
And of course, if you had to look at a map or something like that, you can always look a jacket or poncho over and then look at you look at Band of Brothers when they were where the hell are they?
That's
perfect
exactly
textbook
true.
example, really. Of something
that's doctrine. Two ponchos at a minimum. Because one's never enough. Helmet light, red lens or blue lens doesn't matter, but I have this on my helmet for
red for sure.
Red for sure,
yeah.
For sure. Yeah, but just if you're using red lens, just do me a favor, don't use red map marker on your maps. You will not be able to see it.
Good point.
Yeah, so let's see. I'm pretty sure that covers everything on the helmet. Pretty standard setup. It's got some features on it, but as long as you got eyes and ears, baby, you're good to go, right? But moving down to the plate carrier itself.
Hey guys, want to give a shout out to one of the big partners of the channel, TrueShot Ammo. They make a lot of our shooting videos happen by supporting us with all different kinds of ammo. Got PMC Bronze, X-Tac, Winchester. Recently been shooting this GG&G from Lithuania. Pretty sure they're probably using this like Ukraine or something, but it's 55 grain, 5.56 ammo, M193 NATO spec ammo. So far, so good. Tested a bunch of different guns, everything from my AR-15, Devore X95, G36, whole variety of different weapons. But so far, so good. So if you want to check it out, check out GG&G over at TrueShot, and of course, all the other brands are available too. So thank you guys for watching. Enjoy the video.
So this is the Haley Strategic Thorax plate carrier. Absolutely been in love with it since it came out, and I'm not just saying that because Greg here works for Haley Strategic and I want to maintain a good relationship. But no, really, it's a great plate carrier. It checks all the boxes for me as far as comfort's a big one. You know, when you're wearing kit, a lot of people like go to the range and they're like, "I'll throw this on and I'll shoot a couple rounds,
for 30 minutes,
yeah, throw it off." But like, have you ever worn it for 24, 40 hours, a week straight?
Yeah.
Like, it definitely takes a toll on your body. So I've done a couple things, like adding these ice vent shoulder pads to the front.
Help distribute the weight.
Absolutely.
The ice plate pads are really great for cooling. They're all about thermoregulation over there. Yeah.
That was good airflow. I like the fact that they have this like honeycomb pattern. It makes it super comfortable. I like that they're wider. I didn't go, they have slimmer ones, but I didn't go for the slimmer ones because I think more surface area, distribution of weight's a little bit better.
And you're running like ESAPI plates too.
Oh yeah, this is a heavy boy. And then I'm also going to add side plates, which is something you should always run too. Side plates, it's a no-brainer. I don't know why, but that's something you should totally run because if you're wearing front and back plates, you're like intended to stop bullets. So you should wear side plates too.
Yeah, if you guys want, I'll actually put some B-roll here of what my side plate setup, because it's very similar, like literally same plate carrier, same cummerbund chicken strap type system, but I've got the side plates on mine.
Speaking of the chicken strap, we can talk about that real quick. That's one of the biggest reasons I love this plate carrier is for this small, 2-row cummerbund. I am a short man, right? This is no secret.
Oh, yeah.
We are short kings, right? So I have, and not only am I a short king, but my torso is pretty condensed, right? When I wear plate carrier, like as you can see, my dangler here is not a full size. It's like the Ferro
Slim
Mini.
one, yeah.
Yeah, it's because that thing will be, regardless of the size of this is a medium kit. Regardless of the size, it'll be hanging low. So anything to bring my pouches up more will give me comfort and also clear my belt. Yeah, because all my mags on my belt, especially before this, I had the Legacy JPC, the first,
JPC 1.0.
Yeah, the 1.0. And it had the triple skeletal cummerbund on it, and anything I mounted on it would always catch on my like emergency mag.
Oh, is it just because it was just like a little bit,
It was just because it was expanded at the 3 rows, and then my torso, whenever my mags would come up, even if I dumped it down,
touching the bottom of that cummerbund,
it would always catch the side. So that the chicken strap on the thorax solved that issue for me. So that's why I love it. And it's comfortable, and it comes in different sizes. It's easy to switch out too. You just lift the Velcro on the back, and boom, you can switch it.
So you got the EUD on here, the Juggernaut. Up yeah.
So the Juggernaut, electronic, freaking EUD. I'm sorry.
End user device.
End user device. There you go. Sorry, I had a massive brain fart because I had an itch in my nose and my body shut down. So the Juggernaut phone case, great piece of modern tech, not truly necessary. Map and compass never fails, but we live in a time where this technology is readily available to us, so why not use it, right? So it makes, I have the iOS setup, so my iPhone is right there, but I also have an ATEC configuration for a little bit more. But there's apps on Apple.
So many great apps.
So many great apps for GPS specifically that you can run off grid by downloading the maps and setting.
GPS, I think is like one.
Yeah, Mill GPS is a great one. For iOS, I used one called Compass 55 for some time. That was taught to me by my Ranger buddy. Shout outs to Raleigh. But that's been a great app. So there's a lot of different apps here that just make navigation so much easier. Like gone are the days where dudes are rocking football sleeves and looking at, GRGs, which are grid reference maps, basically, and trying to figure out like where they are based off of a picture at nighttime under red lens. Like it's gone. You just pop this sucker down, pop it back up.
It might make a return depending on what happens in the future war if like EMPs start becoming a thing. But at least for now, EUDs are kind of the way to go.
Yeah, they are the way to go. And like I ran an ATAC while I was in, so I was fortunate enough to start seeing that being implemented.
Seeing the evolution, you're right at that time where like that's the new technology really started to come in.
And I saw it come in too. So like I got to regiment in 2015. I joined the Army in 2014, and then I got out right before 2019 hit, so end of 2018. So like this evolution I saw of like the gear being implemented was super cool to see. It was like they were starting to phase out of like the ACH days.
Yeah, so you were like when we met on Tenet, you were like fresh out.
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense.
I was out for maybe like a couple days.
Wow.
So basically, you do great. Love the Juggernaut one. Complements the TRMP extremely well. And let's talk about the TRMP. I'm not saying this, like I said, I'm not saying this because you work for Haley Strategic. This is the greatest magazine retention system. Call it what you want. This is one of my favorite, the best I've ever used.
Yeah, in terms of the worlds of placards, yeah.
Yeah, and I'll tell you why. The inserts, the system, what are they called again?
MP2s?
Yeah, the MP2s. The retention is amazing. I've never had to use the pull tabs on them, even though they come with it, and I understand why. For like airborne ops, you want to make sure that you're
your stuff's not flying out when you're free falling. Yeah,
but to me, I've never had to use them because the retention is so
good. Really good.
They're very good. They stay in put. A great feature is the elastic on the front that allows you to basically retain a plethora of equipment, whether that be additional magazines, like magazines fit in there if you want to run.
Tourniquets, NPAs.
Exactly.
Right in the rain, notepads, pens, like any kind of little small admin stuff.
Exactly. It fits there. One thing, shock tube. Like this one runs through all the way through, so you can literally put your shock tube, and then I would keep an initiator in here.
Yeah.
So that was super cool. It's just so much you can do with it, and also since it's a placard system, it sits low, and I ran a Juggernaut on my JPC when I had it, and one of the big problems was I had a 10-speed, the Blue Force gear, which are awesome pouches as well, but when I bridge it down, it would always, since my mags were up, it would always hinder.
Oh, it was like I guess the positioning how I think, does it just keep the mags really sucked up against the body?
It keeps them sucked up and high.
And high, okay.
Yeah, so basically when I'd try to flip my Juggernaut down,
interference.
Yeah, it would hit, and I'd be at like a 45 degrees at all times.
Yeah, I see how this does give you a little bit of separation here between the mags and the EUD, which also I think that aids depending on what kind of reload you're doing. If you really want to get your hand down behind the magazine, you got the space to do it. And because it's got elastic, basically it's like a mix of being a rigid and an elastic.
Yep.
It kind of allows you to push the mag out too. So it's kind of a nice happy medium.
It is a very good happy medium. And that was the next point you mentioned, was the reloads. Like I'm a big fan of the beer can grip. So reaching behind, because when you're pulling them out, your thumb's already in position right there by your bolt release. So it just makes reloading faster. It retains everything. It does everything I want it to do to the best of its ability. Also, there's some cool aftermarket features like adding the Molly.
Yeah, the Molly skin.
Yeah, the Molly skin to the front in case you want to drop a bigger, because like this is just a medium.
Yeah, like a wave relay. So like a lot of the higher tier units or whatever running wave relays, MPU5s, RDCs, which is the big, I call it the Game Boy. It looks like a giant Game Boy.
It's huge.
But it's like that fits on here. And like if you watch like SEAL Team, because I know like a bunch of the guys in SEAL Team are rocking or TRMPs and stuff, you'll see like they're just mounting it right on the placard.
And that's great.
It's funny. I think SEAL Team was actually one of the reasons that placard was made, or that skin, because they were like, hey, we want to mount it there, and then we're like, you know what? I think more people than just obviously the show would want to use that functionality on there.
Made for TV.
Yeah.
Stayed for the people.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And not to mention when you throw that down there, it frees up space up here. So you can put more admin.
So I noticed on this side, you got some other cool accessories here. You got like a zipper on this side.
Yeah, so this is super cool. This is one of Axel's or AXL's newer pouches. Forgot what it's exactly called. All I remember is the sound it makes when it makes admin a lot easier. So it basically mounts behind the TRMP on the Velcro, and it's like a sleeve. So you can keep notepads, maps back there, and it's pretty seamless.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. It's like I almost didn't even notice it was there because of how low profile that was.
Exactly, and that's what I really like about it. It's like I always forget it's there, and it's accessible from both sides. So I like the right side because I keep it pretty much open. But if I wanted to access it on the left side, I could.
Yeah.
And like back here, for example, I have super important things like a Declaration of Independence in there.
Yeah.
But like you wouldn't even know.
Remember what you're fighting for.
Yeah, exactly. It's good reading when I'm, getting pissed on in the rain. But yeah, there's also a Right in the Rain back there, but I don't want to start pulling everything out here.
No, you're good.
But yeah, it's a really cool, neat feature. When I saw it, I was just like, that solves a lot of problems, and that's what I look for in gear, right? Not necessarily like, does it look cool? If it does, it's a plus, but does it solve a very deliberate issue, right? So that's cool. So that's the Axel. Moving on, we have the Spiritus Gista pouch. Really love this pouch. It's originally designed for a belt.
Yeah, I actually run one on my belt.
Yeah. I've seen you rock one, and you're actually the reason why I was like, I got this one, because I was like, it's such a good idea.
Well, I actually, I was looking at it, I was like, wow, the Haley inserts actually work in here.
They do,
I had to do a little mod where I did because depending on what generation Haley MP2 insert you got, obviously it's like open bottom. So it's like if you ride it all the way down at the bottom, then you don't need to put anything on the to kind of keep the MP2 retained.
Yeah.
But I put like a one piece of one wrap there, and then I can adjust the ride height and with no problem. So
that's what I have the MP2s in here, because Spiritus was completely sold out. But I like how you can use numerous companies. I like that sense of community. But the Gista pouch, super cool. It solved a lot of issues that I was looking for, because on a plate carrier, you should definitely have some sort of GP, general purpose pouch. For markings, you can put bangers in here. You can
really good for hasty, I just need to throw some grenades on here real fast.
Exactly. It just, it opens up, it collapses down really well. Right now I just have a standalone flashlight in there with some map markers, but you can keep a lot. I've seen guys put 3 or 4 bangers in here. You can put markings, you can put mission essential equipment, you can keep a thermal in here, a handheld thermal. It just holds a lot. And then also, not only does it hold a lot, but it allows me to, put more fighting equipment on here.
I think GPs, especially if you mount them on a plate carrier, they're a great way of lightening your belt loadout. I know right now is kind of an interesting time in the defense industry and the shooting world, because everyone's like gunbelts, and building them up. But as much as I love my gunbelt, when you look back at the GWAT, it's very interesting because not too many guys were wearing gunbelts. Most infantry guys, for the most part. You start seeing it more now because I think it's just they're following the trend, and it's not necessarily bad, your first line gear or whatever. It's good to have that stuff on you, but it is interesting to see back in the day, guys didn't really wear gun belts very much.
That was me. I hate, still to this day, I tolerate my gun belt just because I see the benefit. But
plus you're also carrying a pistol too.
Yeah. And ask me how many times I carried a pistol in a Ranger Regiment. Never, ever. I carried it when I'd walk to my compound on deployment and walk around just in case some guy wanted to get froggy. That was the only time I ever carried a pistol, and it was just on a safari land, you know. But gun belts I didn't like them. I don't like wearing things on my waist for the short torso reason. So I would always configure my plate carrier to be able to carry combat load, which is minimum of 7 mags, and that was in regiment. Now it holds a little bit less because it's more oriented towards civilian, and then when I was in the National Guard, and then obviously for the show. And when you're working with specialized units, I think you can sacrifice, doing that whole load-bearing infantry mindset versus specialized, which is very supported versus unsupported. Do I need to bring?
That's a good point.
So it's do I need to? And that's the thing. I have mad respect for big army cats out there, because you're going into a fight, you know, that you are literally 100% responsible for. And on the flip side of special operations, like, we're good, don't get me wrong, but we have all the support in
all the
world.
tools in the toolbox. Time and place predictability. You get to choose when, for the most part, when you want to attack and whatnot. For the most part.
We have air assets. You know, we have speedballs planned. Like, you can get away with carrying less.
Literally, like, it's extremely dangerous. Don't get me wrong. But like, you know, it can never be downplayed that the dude who's just going outside the wire on a presence patrol, it's got to be one of the scariest things in the world, because you never know when the fuck that's gonna go south.
And you don't know how long it's gonna last. So like, that's why I have 4 here, 1 in the gun, that's 5, and then on my belt I have another one, and then it's not on there right now, but I had a spud pouch, so that adds another. So that's about 8 magazines that I could carry, plus additional in the flat pack to top them off.
Spin this around so you guys can see it. We got the flat pack on the back. Oh, I see. You had like 2 things for antenna relocation.
Right. One thing this kit is missing currently is one thing I forgot about the Justa pouches.
No, do you also use it as your like radio pouch? Or?
No. I just have a multi-tool. Always carry a multi-tool. Like, you need one.
Shit tends to break, and that tends to be the thing that like fixes them very well.
Exactly. So always carry a multi-tool. Don't be that guy who's like, hey, you got a Gerber? Hey, you got a Gerber? Just have the Gerber.
They literally issue one to everybody, so you should probably have one.
Yeah, so the Justa pouch, I kind of jerry-rigged its own retention system.
And that's cool. There's a bunch of like, Soil Leader, and then HSP also makes a radio retention tab, so if you need something like that to keep that in place, you know, there's a lot of different places.
I didn't have time to wait. So I literally made it myself out of the TRM people tabs.
Is this that breacher?
So this is, if you're, just because you're curious about it, this is just a... forgot what Platattack.
Well, Platattack, the like magnet.
The Aussies. So this is an Australian brand, Platattack. This is just for a shotgun retainer. In the show, like when we were at Mexico, we did a lot of breaching, and when I was in regiment, like team leaders are typical breachers. So you'd always have to figure out how to carry, you know, a breaching shotgun in addition to your fighting loadout. So. I like using the magnets. Some guys don't like them. To each their own.
Yeah, some guys use like weapons catches and stuff. But this was just like a very slim.
This is a slim one, and the evolution isn't done. So I would never just have this and expect it to work. Like, I need some retention. Like when I was in, I used earth magnets. Some guys don't like earth magnets because they stick to everything, and like debris when you're running around, like will get picked up. I haven't had an issue with it just because it's located pretty back there.
You'd have to be like laying on the ground for stuff to like.
So I haven't had an issue with anything sticking to it, and that's been there for 4 countries now. I just really like it. I used some dudes use magnets in contention or in addition to those
retention methods.
Yeah, those retention methods, and those work great. But I like the magnet. It makes things super easy, especially when I just need to get rid of my shotgun really quick. It will slap on the side and retain it pretty well. So that's just really quick from Platattack, and it sits there. It's super low pro, so it's out of the way, so I never really have to worry about taking it on or off. It's never been an issue.
So I think it's kind of cool. You got like a whole combo back here. You got the antenna relocation kits, the flat pack, and then you got like the Ferro.
This is the roll one.
Yeah, the roll one.
Yeah. So basically, let's start with the roll one. Great. I like it a lot. You'll see when we go talk about the belt, I have another IFAK on my belt, and that's just because. Two is one is none. And then also sometimes I just don't want to wear a belt,
and so you always have something.
I always have an IFAK. Yeah, and I like the fact that it's easily accessible with both hands. All I have to do is kind of do like a parade rest.
The placement is actually really nice. It goes in that gap.
And then when you're riding in vehicles, this is where you notice this the most is it acts as support. It's like a good lumbar support sitting down.
It's like having a little pillow.
It is, I really like it. You can keep a lot of trauma kit in here. So the roll one's just a really good pouch. I like it a lot.
Yeah, and definitely one of the better things they've come out with.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of funny because I have like my dangler system is like all Ferro. Because on the front I have the mini dangler, and I explained it already because it's a short guy season, short guy summer.
Short guy summer.
Yeah, so I have you pointed them out already, but I have the TCI, the MASS system, which are the antenna relocation kits. I have 2 on there because when I'm cadre for MSW, I'm typically in a leadership position, so I run 2 radios.
Comms,
so to be on like a command net and then to be on like a platoon net. So, I mean, I'm sure there's newer radios now.
Yeah, because I believe your comms are dual comms too, yeah?
Yeah, so my comms are dual comms, so I'm plugged in. I was dual commed in the military as well. Like,
so you were used to that, right?
Yeah, so just fucking doing this all the time. That's the real weapon.
So that's what I was gonna say. Yeah. Like whenever a guy has 2 radios, like he should never use his weapon. Like his weapon is the radios, because like the element's the weapon. He's got weapons above him. Like you give all the assets.
That's like JTAC. Yeah. This is your weapon.
That's really your weapon. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, these are just to relocate my antenna on the back. Some dudes don't like antenna relocation. You know, you're losing some power, but I mean, most of the time, I'm not, you know, this is a big, highly debated thing. And I've personally never had issues with antenna relocation. Some guys like the contact points tend to break.
It could be nitpicking.
Yeah, it could be super nitpicky, but like I'll tell you, I've ran in my military experience, I've ran in antenna relocation, I've run it in MSW, I've run it in other countries. I've never had an issue with it, right?
Yeah, anytime I've used an antenna relocation kit, if anything, it's just been better.
Yeah, no, I don't want to say, because I know, like, you can plug these radios into meters and, you know, gauge how much they're pushing out and it's a little less, but usually when I'm rocking these ones, I'm the guy that can talk. And like
it just cleans up and frees up more space on the front, because when you have cables going everywhere, and there's different ways of cable managing everything. So when it goes to the back and then goes to the antenna.
Yeah. I will say that this is also like DA kit, right? This is a direct action kit. Whenever I spent 4 years in the recce section in the National Guard, and I will never play around with relocation on that, just because it's like, why? I'm eliminating that question. I'm eliminating that what if, especially on recon, when your radio is your primary, right? Your radio and your glass is your primary. So that's one thing. Like, if you ever see me in a chest rig, I'll have a radio with the antennas in. Yeah. I'll never relocate. But that's, for DA, totally acceptable, because it's all LOS. It's all line of sight, right? I'm talking to the squad on the other side of the wall. So I never have a problem. Haley flat pack, great piece of technology. I like the fact that when it's empty, it's like I don't have a pack on.
Compact,
can carry water in it, you know, when times get tough. Can carry a lot in the main pouch. It zips all the way down. I enjoy the fact that it has the, we'll open this up.
Talking about like the full peel design, or
the full peel design, where, you know, the bag opens up all the way. You can mount Velcro, anything, all your panels and stuff. I just have an SSC kit bag in here right now. But I enjoy that a lot.
For stealing stuff off guys at MSW?
Yeah, pretty much. SSC kit bag, good piece kit. It's also very necessary for casualty care too. People don't realize, because how are you going to carry their kit back? Like, it's their SI is not going with them.
That's a great point as well.
Yeah, their SI is not going with them, so you don't want to be the guy that's like carrying 2 guns like this. Yeah, just put in an SC kit, throw it on your back. So yeah, this is, unless I missed anything. Oh, I guess I didn't talk about the just a Haley smoke grenade pouch. I'm pretty sure it holds Thunderbees really well. It holds smokes
and obviously,
really well.
M18 smokes and all the other military smoke grenades.
Yeah. So it holds Thunderbees for thing, but also I'm pretty sure I'm able to fit 2 actual banger bodies in there. So my philosophy is you should always be able to access your throwables yourself, right? I think 1 or 2 at a minimum that you can access and throw yourself.
Yeah, and then if you have team ones, you have ones for your buddies on your back.
Yeah. So one thing that I do, just because I know Haley makes Velcro banger panel.
We've got some stuff in the works. Stay tuned.
You didn't hear that from me, but it's maybe I dreamt that.
There's cool stuff coming.
But I typically, on the back, I've done this before, where I just use rubber bands. I'll use rubber bands and rubber band bangers to my back for my guys to grab.
Like on the directly to the molly.
Directly to the molly. That's something that
poor man's breacher panel.
Poor man's
poor man's like.
If it fits, it shits, right? You're gonna love the way you look. But yeah, this is pretty much my plate carrier setup. So if we want, we can take a look at the belt now.
Yeah, let's take a look at the belt. What's up, guys? I wanted to talk about one of the sponsors for the channel, Carnivore Snacks. Now, I've been looking for something that's been healthy and field expedient to eat when you're at the range, at the field, at a MILSIM event, and I actually stumbled upon this on accident. This stuff is next level. You'll literally never eat beef jerky ever again once you try this stuff. So basically what it is a meat chip, and it's like legit meat. This stuff is amazing. So be sure to check it out. I have a link in my description and in my bio. You can also use the code Spartan117GW. It'll give you 15% off on carnivore snacks. So be sure to check it out. Back to the video.
So
The gunbelt setup.
Gunbelt setup, super easy. I'm sure you've seen everybody's belt looks something like this with the addition of something. So this is basically the Ronin Senshi. I've had this for so long. I don't think you understand. This belt has been like...
I mean, this looks like you've had it for a while. I mean, it's still holding up really.
Oh yeah, no, I've
Those
had
things
this
are like
6 years.
Bulletproof.
Yeah, oh no. I've had it for 6 years. I've used it religiously. It's a great belt.
Yeah.
It's lasted me all the time. Favorite thing when I look for a belt is because I use mine still for military application. It's not just a shooter belt. So basically that the aircraft safety line point.
So this is a load rated belt.
It is
so that
load
way
rated.
you can attach to a bird.
Exactly. So basically when I'm falling to my death, I'm not, my belt's not breaking. It's actually holding me.
If anything happens with the bird, you're already in a bad situation.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. But have the Haley have the Haley double pistol mag pouch. They're great. They remind me of the Kiwis without the actual hardware, because Kiwis are great, the S-Stack pouches. That's what I ran before this. But the inserts broke. So that was something I was like, kind of turned me off to them, but they were like awesome. So these really reminded me of that. And they don't have that plastic hardware. So they've worked really well. Pretty much same Haley single mag pouch.
Basically the same that's on the
same
TRMP.
as the TRMP.
It's just a single version of that.
Yeah, and without the elastic on front. That's one thing I forgot to mention. The TRMP, the fact that you can put everything and its mom as far as weapons.
I was literally about to say that because I know you traveled to a bunch of different countries. It's like, okay, so you traveled to a bunch of different countries. I mean, probably NATO-ish kind of countries.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Never when it comes to different weapon systems, what other kind of mags did you end up running in your pouches?
Yeah, so I used AK-5 in Sweden. It was a winter kit, so they gave us their kit. But
their mags are like waffle mags, aren't they?
Yeah. So I had a kit, or I had my belt with me, but I didn't use it because winter and stuff. But I was putting all the mags in.
Yeah.
It fit. The AUG mags fit perfectly. Even if it was the waffle mags, I had the extended ones in the front of the TRMP, and they fit perfectly. I love the fact, and this is one thing I try to, at least my mindset when building kit is like, it's inevitable that you're going to have to switch it out, right? When you're building your kit, it needs to be mission driven, it needs to have reason, and it needs to fulfill a specific role, right? So I don't want to be switching my pouches out all the time.
Yeah, it's nice to have something that works for multiple different things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So as far as like the adaptability of those pouches, if I'm running a 308, I don't have to switch anything out. And like those days are gone where like you see your sniper boys are like, okay, now I'm running the 308, so I got to switch everything out. And the spotter's like, I'm running the M4, so I got to.
They only get one issue of kit, so it's like,
so they're constantly switching things out. With the Haley rig, you don't have to do anything, and that's one of my favorite things because it saves me time and it saves the feeling in my fingertips.
Oh yeah, it saves your fingers. Yeah.
Yeah. Underneath, I have a Haley dump pouch, and I put it right underneath this because it frees up space. And it also acts as kind of a index point for putting dumps away. That's fun. I love that. But yeah, it sits right on there.
That's actually pretty cool.
So basically, it's when it's rolled up, it's not.
It's pretty much like not even noticeable.
Yeah, because it's such a thin material, it's not noticeable at all. And then when I unroll it, it's right there where I index anyways to grab my FAST.
It's kind of, it reminds me of the Blue Force gear, like mini dump pouch, but it's got a wider mouth. So when it opens, it has a little bit more structure to put stuff in. But when you roll it up away, like again, it has minimal signature.
Yeah, but the placement's pretty much to free up space everywhere else. And then also it's like right underneath that FAST mag. So when I'm throwing dumps away, or throwing expended magazines away, because I retain all my stuff. It's right where that is, so I know where it is because I pulled from there, so I put away from there. I had a double pistol. I had a Spirited Systems spud pouch right there, but I took it off because I was rocking a Tomahawk for a little bit, just for funsies.
Dude, I saw it.
We like to have fun, you know.
Didn't you throw a Tomahawk in a video recently?
That was.
Or it was. Oh, it was that guy. It was that guy. Yeah.
Okay. This is my.
Speaking about the knives.
Yeah. Speaking of knives. I'm a big folder fan, but recently
Fixed blades.
I've been going into fixed blades.
Well, I mean, it's the saying too, like, you don't want to have to be deploying a folder in a knife fight. If you end up getting in a situation where you have to use a knife, or it might not even be a knife fight, but like you're in close proximity, your secondary, primary weapon goes down, like you just need to pull something out and it just needs to be ready to fucking go.
Yeah, so my thing was like, this has been like a highly emotional debated topic in my mind for a long time, like fixed blade versus folder blade versus blade. Why? You know, because like in my mind, knives they're not weapons, they're administrative tools.
They get used a lot as tools. Yeah, it's good to have a general purpose knife, especially if you're in the field.
Yeah, so like I'm telling you, everybody that I've met, you know, I've met very few, if not no people that have a confirmed knife kill, you know.
Mike Jones is a knife kill.
Yes, yeah.
No, he does. Yeah,
man.
in fucking Haiti.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that just tells you how wild Haiti was.
Yeah.
He was like a Navy, like, medical guy. So
really?
Yeah, people be acting wild in Haiti. Like,
don't go to Haiti then without a good fixed blade. And this is the Tor mullet. This is one of my favorite.
Go ahead, pull that bad boy out.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite blades from Tor. It is an awesome knife. It's built shit hot, and I would hate to get stabbed by this.
Dude, Tor makes a lot of great stuff. Obviously they make the darter for Haley, but like they make so many other knives and other cool little things. Obviously veteran-owned company in the San Diego area.
Yep, California-based, and just really put a lot of time and effort into their knives.
Come a long way, and they've blown up in the last couple of years.
Yeah, so I'm super happy. I'm super happy to be involved with them. I do have a relationship with Tor, and you know, when I'm choosing to work with people, I really want to be able to say that I trust them. And 100%, I trust Tors with my life because they are just amazing tools. So I have basically the Tor mullet on the belt with the belt mount hardware just right here in front. I keep it centerline to the body just because I can access it with both hands, whether I want to access it with my right hand and do kind of like...
Yeah, you can do like a reverse grip with that one or a standard grip with this
one. Yeah, so I keep it centerline. It's out of the way too. It even though it's kind of poning out, when I bend over, it's not interfering with anything.
It doesn't look like it impedes at all.
Yeah, it doesn't impede at all. So that's great.
So, this bad boy right here.
Yeah, so here is just my my 19X, so we'll just put that away real quick.
So I see you got the True North mount.
Yeah, which is great. I love it.
Firelane holster. And if you guys aren't familiar with it, the True North mount is basically like a CNC metal mount that gives you all these mounting options and allows you to camp the holster. And I see you even got the leg strap attached to it.
Yeah, I got the leg strap. I like the leg strap idea because, sometimes, especially older belts, you know, they don't have the Velcro, or they didn't have the Velcro, so when you pull the holster out, it was like...
The whole holster is moving?
The whole holster is moving.
Well, it's like, so what I've noticed, right? So if your holster is higher up on the belt, it doesn't do this as much. Yeah. But when the holster is lower, like this is like a mid-ride, not like a low ride. Like a low ride's going to be a little like a old school drop leg.
Like Black Hawk Sherpa, you know.
But like this is a mid-ride, so that way what I like about it is that the leg strap, where it sits, it's like right on the inside of your groin. It's kind of like the ideal placement where it's like, it's super secure and it just ain't gonna move anywhere.
Yeah. So it hasn't given me any issue. You know, I'm a big fan of the True North. Great upgrade from the original paddle it comes with. But yeah, I've been running Safarilands for a long time. I'm not going to say they're bulletproof because I've had some issues with them, but they have great warranty.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is like any holster, if you beat it up enough, is going to break.
Yeah,
but
I mean, that's with anything.
For like their record of history of what they've built and what they've made, Safarilands have been a pretty tried-true brand for a long time. I mean, guys in Black Hawk Down were running Safariland holsters with their 1911s, so like they've definitely been around the block.
Yeah, and that's why I still use them.
And you got your medical kit.
And then finally, I have the Haley, and was it the collaboration?
From SOAR.
With SOAR, the Med Mag. Great IFAK. I like the fact that it has elastic on the outside. I have this is either a SOCOM or a soft tourniquet. It's a different type of soft T tourniquet. I like this one. I like having different tourniquets.
Yeah. Well, you also run the snake staff.
Yeah, I run the snake staff on my
EDC kit.
EDC kit because it's small and it tucks away. But usually I'll have one of the soft T's and then also one of the cats.
Yeah.
The the reason I do that is because the tail on the softie is much longer. So I learned this in Syria. Like you can basically add pressure points, especially for femoral bleeds, like getting shot in the leg. Sometimes I've seen guys come in. I had the pleasure of working at a casualty collection point in Syria, and I would see guys come in with 2, 3 tourniquets on their legs. And,
because it wasn't stopping it.
It wasn't stopping it. Granted, whether it was the training of the individual
if they putting it on properly,
but dudes were coming in messed up big time, brother. And and they had 3 tourniquets. So
I thought it was so fascinating that, because obviously most guys in most units didn't get that kind of hands-on medical, like actual field.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't even like training. It was literally like, hey, we just need hands to work on these bodies, and like, you probably worked on more people than you did anything else in Syria.
That's 100% true. Yeah, so I got like 600 hours of OR time in Syria with like no certification. So that was
real
cool.
live tissue training.
Yeah, that was cool, man. But yeah, no, I saw a lot of tourniquets come in, and we had a lot of experiment time with our medic. My buddy Adam, and he was a great medic, and we started realizing like the tails, you could take like a Nalgene, which a lot of guys will carry a water bottle on them, like even whether it's the 18-ounce smaller Nalgene or even a full-size Nalgene. You can take a Nalgene, and the femoral, if you haven't seen it in person, which I could say like a lot of people have, that sucker is like that thick. It's a big artery, right, that runs right here along, and if that thing gets, you need a lot of pressure. That's why the tourniquet on the leg is so important, to make that high and as tight as possible. But we noticed we can start putting Nalgenes like right there, and then cranking a tourniquet on top of them, and the surface area from that Nalgene like made it 10 times tighter. Couldn't do it with a cat because basically you're adding a Nalgene between it, so you need a longer strap. With a soft T, you could totally do it. So that's the reason I carry a soft T, and then also a cat on there. But the MegMad's awesome, it has everything you need for a trauma, and you should always carry a tourniquet on you. And honestly, you shouldn't carry just one, you should carry 2, because I have 2 arms. 2 at a minimum, because I have 2 arms and I have 2 legs.
I mean, I think it's a great point with the Snake Staff Systems tourniquets. They're so small. You can literally carry enough of them for like each leg and literally have them positioned all around your kit. So,
I also have on my plate carrier, I have a tourniquet on the Faro Dangler. I'm also waiting on a new, I think it's from like Gray Matter.
To mount on the holster?
It's basically a tourniquet mount for the holster. It goes around and you mount it right there. So I carry like 3 tourniquets, and maybe I'll put one in the
2
shoulder
is 1,
button.
and 1 is
2
none.
And 1 is none.
And like 3 is 2.
3 is 2, I guess.
And 4 is 3.
I think that's how
it's good to have, right? Especially with tourniquets, because you got multiple limbs.
Exactly. But that's pretty much, unless I missed anything.
Well, I think one thing I want to talk about briefly is testing the equipment.
Yes.
Right? So we actually talked about this briefly, but because obviously you grew up playing airsoft, which I think is cool. I mean, I grew up playing airsoft. I mean, look where we ended up, right? Like a lot of guys end up starting off with airsoft and getting in the military. I loved your story that you told about like going to basic after playing airsoft, and then you could talk a little bit about like testing the equipment and stuff after. But tell the guys a little bit about that.
Sure. Oh yeah. No, I grew up in California.
Airsoft capital.
Airsoft capital of the world. My mom grew up in East LA. Hated guns. Reminded her of her childhood. So we never had any in the house. So that was
like I want them.
It's just when you can't have something, you want it more. So I never really had the opportunity to like be around the firearm culture growing up, but I had this desire. I knew I was drawn to the military since I was young.
Yeah,
like maybe
so you want to
12.
get your hands on something as soon as possible. Start practicing.
Yeah,
training.
so I got into airsoft. It was like the only thing that was readily available for a young lad my age, right?
Same.
Yeah. So I was, that's when I started, looking into tactics and came across like Magpul Dynamics.
Where'd you play?
I played at a place called Warped Ops.
Okay, so you play at Warped because you were on the east side of
it was
LA.
Ventura County.
Yeah,
so I'd drive to Warped Ops, and then they used to have a field in Simi Valley that I would play to, but I don't remember what it was called, and it's long gone.
I don't even think I've ever got a chance to play at Warped Ops. But I've like obviously when I moved to LA, it was after the Army. But like growing up for me, it was like backyard airsoft or like whatever airsoft games I can go to. And then I joined the Army, and then I played a lot in the East Coast. But
yeah, man.
But what did your drill sergeant say when you went to basic? And they're like,
oh, dude, it's just the culture. Like you'd almost keep it under wraps, right? Just because people would make fun of you for like playing airsoft. But no, when I was in RASP, like all I remember, because all I would do is dry fire with these guns, and it totally translated. I know there's like that T-Rex Arms video where they bring in that Japanese guy. And like he's so fast.
He's like 80, 90% there, and then they just had to like tweak him
a little bit, and then he's just quick as hell.
Yeah.
So like that was, dry firing works. So I remember doing this stress shoot, and I like crushed it, like beat the instructors and everything.
They're like, whoa.
yeah, it was like faster than anybody, like the weapon manipulation there, but honestly it was like a shotgun blast, so I lost on time because I was like missing. But like it was great. It was so good. Everybody was like, it was awesome. But yeah, so I was airsofting a lot, and then I didn't really do it in the military because it wasn't really.
Well, because you were working,
and I was working. I know some buddies that do it now that are active duty.
Yeah. Like a lot of active or prior guys, like Task Force Mayhem. Big shout out to Jim. Yeah. His crew of
misfits.
Guys. Yeah.
So so I didn't really do it when I was in, but then I got the opportunity to do some work with Milsim West on the outside, and like it sounded really fun to me.
That's like any kind of long duration Milsim event is a great way to test your equipment because let's face it. On the range, even if you're wearing it for like a couple hours, but you're only shooting like 30-second strings of fire, that is completely different than like, hey, we're going to infill, we're going to ruck to over there, we're going to set up our patrol base, we're going to set up security, and then we're going to go fucking fight and attack the enemy. Like some of the AOs around the country, it's like you're really moving around, and it's like people don't realize it's like it's a marathon. It's a marathon. It's like it's not like a 5-second sprint like you get on the flat range.
No, absolutely. And like I'll tell you, like a lot of these evolutions that I've made and changes to this kit came from experiences playing Milsim West games, because I'm like, that's not going to work because this is super uncomfortable, or like man, I can't have that mounted there because it keeps doing a pressure point, and like when you're on the flat range you're like, oh, it looks cool, and but it doesn't work.
You're not getting that long duration testing of like, especially for comfort too. So you're gonna really find out if something's not good if you're wearing it for a long time.
Exactly. So that's why I'm a big proponent of like getting out there like to games like Milsim West. I'm not just saying that because I'm affiliated with them, but I truly believe that they're the best Milsim experience in the world. But yeah, and it's because of that fact that I'm literally, especially when I'm cadrang, my plate carrier comes off once or twice, and that's about like at hour 36 when like my back is like about to give out and it's the middle of the night, and I'm like, I gotta get like 15 minutes of sleep here.
I mean, you never know when you're gonna get attacked, so I'm never a fan of like fully dekitting. It's like why? That's just more shit you have to throw on. Obviously, if you're deployed somewhere, like in a real world environment, and you're there for like a year, that's a little different. But like for these 40-hour events, at least for those like durations, is a good way to experience it, because for a civilian, there really is no better way to get that kind of force-on-force experience and that kind of AO or that kind of terrain with that kind of people who are actually good. I mean, it's very hard to find that anywhere else.
Yeah, so go out, try a game if you're interested. If you want to test yourself, it's physically demanding, AO dependent, but also it'll tell you whether your kit is actually doing it for you. So yeah, I'm a big proponent of going out and actually doing stuff with your kit, whether that be going to Milsim West or like going camping and just walking. Yeah, put a ruck on,
just walk
and just walk, go for a friggin' walk. It's good for you.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's pretty much all my kit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, so it kind of relates to what we're just saying. Like I said, if you're a real gun guy, try Milsim, try Airsoft. Obviously, we're living examples. Like a lot of guys who end up joining the military or going to serve their country or in one way or another get their start in Airsoft, or they just want to become responsible armed citizens. It's a great way to make the crossover. And then if you're a gun guy, it's also a great way to train and just see if your shit works. If you are an Airsoft guy, don't be afraid to learn about real guns and all that stuff. And like, it's just you're going to be more educated on how the guns operate and everything. And then it's a more holistic view. Like, have both sides of the pie. Obviously, most people start in one or the other, and then they'll eventually kind of cross over and meet in the middle. Because like when you go to these big events, you're starting to get more gun guys coming to those, and then more Airsoft guys. Like they get to a certain age, they're like, oh, I can buy and own real guns now. So there is that kind of nexus point or a crossing point where apex point where people start kind of like crossing over the divide, if you will. So try a little bit of both. Also, don't forget, check out the new show.
Yes, please. Toughest Forces on Earth. Would love your guys' support. Also, I have a podcast with my buddy Israel Wright that you probably recognize from Gameology. and Shift Fire too. That's the Pop Culture Field Manual podcast. Check that out. And then finally, shameless plugs, kickgod.co. That's my brand. Basically, sell cool apparel, sell cool equipment. Some of the proceeds go to clothing homeless veterans so they can get out there and look cool too.
Cool. All right. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys next time.